Hmm. All right, are we recording? Hello, yes, okay. Hey everybody, David Shapiro here. It's been a hot minute since I've talked to everyone. I've been super busy on some top secret projects. News of those will be forthcoming. If you're new to my channel, which I imagine many of you are, judging by the rate of subscribers and the trends. So my name is David Shapiro. I am a independent AI researcher focusing on large language models and cognitive architecture. I have written 3 books on the topic. My first one was Natural Language Cognitive Architecture, a prototype AGI. My second one was Benevolent by Design, 6 Words to Safeguard Humanity, which is about the control problem. How do you prevent it from murdering everybody? I got this problem solved. And then finally, Symphony of Thought, Orchestrating Artificial Cognition. So in these books, I talked about how to use, prompt engineering with foundation models and instruct trained models. I also talked a little bit about fine tuning. Fine tuning is why you're here. ChatGPT is a fine tuned model. It is basically fine tuned to be a chat agent. Now, here's the thing. You go and use it, and I'm not gonna show you because if you're here, you've probably played with it. It's the most popular thing you've seen right now. It's basically a wall of text generator. You ask it a question. It doesn't ask you any questions. It's not actually conversation. It's just stream of I'm gonna answer you. If you just go to Google News or any news search, GPT or Chat GPT is dumber than you think. It recreates racial profiling. But it could disrupt the business of search. It's not going to disrupt search, and let me tell you why. It's way too expensive. Google has been doing search for decades, and you search for anything on Google, and you get 2.5 million results in like 0.006 seconds, right? GPT is like literally billions of times more expensive than Google search. So yeah, good luck with that. Uh, yeah. Even and Google's integrating other deep neural networks into their search. They're already using BERT for search, which is why Google search has gotten better lately, and it'll often just provide you the answer. So yeah, that's not happening. The reason that it still can do racial profiling and it's been banned from like coding forums because like what was the quotation? It was like the code that it produces looks plausible, but it's spectacularly bad. So really, all that they have done, as far as I can tell, is come up with a UI. This is a user experience or a user interface advancement. The future of education. Like, look, I was fine tuning chat models for tutors and creative writing coaches and all kinds of stuff earlier. I took all that down because it's part of my secret projects. So a lot of my best work is not available online anymore, much to the chagrin of some people. Now that all that being said, yes, I am super critical of what ChatGPT means. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to be an expert voice that's going to give you kind of a balanced opinion. So, what's good about GPTJ? Or GPTJ, that's the open source one. ChatGPT. I apologize if I keep saying the wrong one. ChatGPT. It's still new on my tongue. It's weird. ChatGPT. So what's good about it? One, the interface is really, really super intuitive. That is the primary benefit here. There was a post on LinkedIn, I think it was a repost from TechCrunch or something, that showed, and this was actually reshared by Adam Goldberg of OpenAI. That's how I saw it. I follow him on LinkedIn. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. So anyways, what it said was ChatGPT shows that user interface is just as important, if not more important, than the underlying model, which I agree. Obviously, large language models are out there. I keep saying GPTJ on accident, NeoX, Bloom. Large language models are going to become very commonplace here soon. So then the question is, okay, what do you wrap it in? So here's a metaphor that I give. It's like having the engine of a Ferrari without having the Ferrari, right? If you've got a 500 horsepower motor or a 1000 horsepower motor, but you don't have the right structure, steering, traction control, it doesn't matter, right? And that's what ChatGPT proves. ChatGPT is starting to put the sports car frame. Oops, sorry, let me mute my phone. It's starting to put the sports car frame around the powerful engine. Large language models are ultra powerful engines, yes, but you need to figure out how to steer it. That's what ChatGPT does. Now, ChatGPT is open-ended, right? It's I will just respond, but it doesn't have any goals, right? So if you have a goal, if you have an agenda as a person, it's there to help you, which is fine. But that's not going to that still relies on you kind of steering the conversation. But what if you need help with something that you don't know how to do? You can ask it, sure, and it'll, give you a wall of text about how to do that thing, kind of in general vague terms. But one thing is, it doesn't ask you questions. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't, and I say care in kind of not even a platonic sense, but in a functional sense. It doesn't ask you questions because it wasn't trained to. It doesn't have part of its model a desire to, figure out what you're actually after, right? So I'll say that's an oversight in their fine-tuning methodology. That one's for free, by the way. No more freebies, though. So, yeah, so it's a viral chatbot. Is it the start of the AI revolution? No. All the people that are in the space with me that we've been working on this stuff for a couple of years, this is just a flashy interface. Sorry to break it to you. I know if you're new, this is like super exciting, which, yes, like this is a breakout moment for the technology because public perception is just as important as the actual technology, right? Because how do you get hype is you have to have something that is hype worthy. And OpenAI didn't even realize it would be this hype worthy. So that's fine. I'm not going to click on some of these, blah, 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 start of the AI revolution. No. Let's see. Is it the next big thing or another tool to spread misinformation, sorry. I don't think it's either. It's too, well, I don't need to get in too much into it. GPT is not politically neutral. That's fine. Let's see. So anyways, what I was talking about was what does it do good? What does it do bad? One thing that is become very clear that they haven't figured out is confabulation. It still makes stuff up. It's not connected to something that is considered ground truth. Now, here's the thing. Other people are working on that, right? So Meta AI, Facebook AI, they have their project called Sphere, which is basically like Wikipedia, but for AI, so it can look up facts. There's also knowledge graphs and Wikidata and all kinds of other things where you can have stores of, quote, ground truth, which is just something to check yourself against. There's semantic search, which allows you to quickly pull facts from databases, encyclopedias, dictionaries, whatever. But as far as I can tell, ChatGPT is just a single model. And it's not actually connected to a more complex architecture. It's just a rolling window where it reads the last couple messages and answers your following question. This is not a particularly sophisticated architecture. If you read my book, Natural Language Cognitive Architecture, the first cognitive architecture I propose is orders of magnitude more complex than that. And then I have even more complex models proposed in Symphony of Thought. But it'll be a while before the rest of the world catches up to that. That's fine. Yeah, so ChatGPT is having a Thomas Edison moment. Yeah, a light bulb moment. Anyways, everyone wants to know, like, what is this going to do? What is it going to change? So there are a few things that, just off the top of my head, something like ChatGPT could do. Again, once the cost comes out, once people see how expensive it is to run, you might think twice and kind of go back to Google. When it's free, right? So here's the thing: is product market fit is one thing. If it's free, great. But like the same thing happened with DALL-E 2. When DALL-E 2 was free, the quality was like, okay, it's good enough. I'll use it if it's free. But as soon as they started charging, I stopped using DALL-E 2, except for on rare cases, right? It's like, yeah, it costs about 15 cents per generation. So, I'll buy a few tokens every now and then to, make a YouTube thumbnail or something. But I'm not going to sit there and play with it. Similarly, if you have to spend, a couple pennies per conversation with ChatGPT, it might be worth it to you to have a subscription. But what happens often when you don't have product market fit, and I don't think that this actually is solving any real problem. It's nifty, right? It's a cool tool, but it's like, okay, well, are you going to pay for it, and how often are you going to use it, right? Because when you're talking about something that's actually going to be disruptive, it has to be either so compelling that you need it, and when you need it, you absolutely need it, even if you only need it once. So an example of this is Zillow. How often are you buying a house? I bought my house 8 years ago, and yeah, I look at Zillow every now and then, but I found this house on Zillow, and so I needed it once in 8 years, right? So high need, low frequency. So that's one way you can get product market fit is when your customers need you, they really need you. The other thing you can do is have high volume but low utility. So social media is an example of that, where you use addiction mechanisms to get people, or attention engineering to get people to use TikTok and Twitter and stuff all day, every day. So they're using it all the time, but they're getting low utility out of it. And then so that's if you want to appeal to the mass market. Another thing you can do is you can do B2B, right? You can say, I'm going to build something that's going to be useful to other customers. Honestly, I don't see GPT or ChatGPT as having, I probably have been seeing GPTJ the whole time. Sorry, ChatGPT. I don't see that as having mass appeal, because here's the thing. We're all used to using Google all day, every day, right? We know how to use it. We're familiar with this tool. Its results are more reliable. We know how to interpret the results too. Here's the thing is ChatGPT at its present format, it doesn't tell you how reliable it is. It doesn't cite its sources. It doesn't say, click on this link to prove that I know what I'm talking about, right? You can't open a whole bunch of tabs of ChatGPT and investigate each one. So in terms of high volume, not there. Doesn't exist. And then in terms of high value but low frequency, I mean, honestly, it basically, like, for some of the functions, it's just kind of regurgitating, Wikipedia articles. Now, that being said, if you ask it a basic boilerplate question, it'll give you an answer. Can it do work, though? Can it do cognitive labor without that'll actually save you time and energy? I haven't seen any evidence that it actually saves you too much time and energy. Now, I have seen some people do like creative writing with it. Okay, but as a novelist myself, barfing out a first draft, anyone can do that. Cleaning it up, on the other hand, that's hard. I figured that out. I know how to do that with AI. But I don't know that ChatGPT can be an editor. It can probably tell you how to, some general principles on how to improve your writing. But the point there is you're having to put just as much cognitive effort and time into it, so it's not really saving you any time or energy. So I don't see any of all the use cases and stuff. Like, yes, it's neat. Are you going to pay for it? I don't think anyone's going to pay for it, really. And I might eat my hat, but certainly in its current state, I think it's more of a novelty. Now, that being said, on the B2B side, could this be useful to companies? Possibly, especially given the way that it formats its answers. If it can give you really empirical, hey, we're going to hook into your databases, right? Your payroll and your customer service databases, and sure, okay, I don't know. There might be some B2B use cases, but I don't really see B2C use cases, especially not at the price point of these models. They're just too darn expensive to run. So it's like, okay, well, what would be the price point? What is the kind of conversation that is so valuable that it would be worth it? So what are the most expensive conversations you have? One of those is going to be with your lawyer, right, or your doctor, because how much do you pay them? You pay them $400 an hour, essentially, to see them, to talk to them. So, if your time is that valuable and you can do most of it via conversation, I could see, those really high value consultation kind of things. And obviously there's plenty of other kinds of consultation other than medicine and law. But of course, those are also very highly specific things where you have to really know what you're talking about and be licensed, right? You have to pass your boards if you want to be a doctor, and you have to pass the bar if you want to be a lawyer. ChatGPT can't do either of those things. So at best, it could be an adjutant or an assistant, right? But again, human brains are still faster in many respects. So it's like, okay, those are the high value ones. Are they going to do like a legal eagle version of ChatGPT? Are they going to do, a doctor, whatever his name was, a famous doctor back in the day, version of ChatGPT? I don't know, especially because a lot of then especially if you do medicine, that's considered a medical device, and that means you need FDA approval, right? So there are these use cases. Science is another one where science is expensive, but we saw the recent debacle with Meta Galactica, right, where they trained it on a bunch of papers, and they still didn't figure out confabulation. It started making stuff up. So I don't think they're going to find product market fit with their current format. So novelty, sure. Breakout, sure. It's going to follow the hype cycle. Everyone is going to see ChatGPT, and everyone's going to pile in. We're going to have a whole bunch of newcomers, whole bunch more venture capitalist investment, whole lot of speculation. We're going to get a bubble, and then it's going to settle back down as reality sets in. And we'll kind of go back to business as usual. Now, that being said, I am not calling for an AI winter. My fiance called me out because about a year and a half ago, I was like, man, I'm using GPT and I've got about all I can get out of it, so I think we're heading for another AI winter. Boy, was I wrong. So she reminded me of that very helpfully. So no, there are many, many high value cases that we are figuring out how to use GPT with. And I've been talking to a lot of industry veterans from all over. I won't call anyone out by name, but people that were there for the .com revolution and crash. People that were there for the mobile revolution, which is still ongoing, right? 3G, 4G, 5G, right? Veterans of the industry. And they all say, so here's the thing. Here's what the experts are saying. People that have been in technology longer than me. They are saying that this feels like the mid-90s of the internet, where everything is just getting started. We are just figuring out the potential of what we've got. And it's like, we know that there's something there, but we only have the first inkling. We don't even have the tip of the iceberg. Like, it's the iceberg's on the horizon. We can see that there's something out there, but we don't have any idea how big it is. We just know that it's big. What was it? There was something that someone told me, just like many conversations I've had actually, where it's just like something changed in the last few months. It was about the last, I think probably since August or September. Like, it just, like, spidey senses tingling. And then of course ChatGPT comes along and explodes the popularity. So again, I'm not even tepid. Like, I'm full steam ahead on this, but ChatGPT is not going to be the thing that changes everything. It's just, caught the public curiosity. I think that's about all I got.